There are now very few car maker groups with several brands that have not yet introduced at least one or two battery electric vehicles or BEVs produced in quantities that are at least tangibly significant. There are currently so many volume BEVs being made by companies like the Volkswagen Group, Mercedes, DDAIF, and Peugeot-Fiat that it is practically impossible to keep track of them all. Over the past 10 years, Toyota has been the most conspicuous major car maker, BEV laggard. It is well known for its using battery electric power in hybrid combinations with gasoline engines starting 25 years ago, though it has conducted small-scale BEV experiments. For 25 years, Toyota has ruled the hybrid industry. However, this was eager to see how Toyota would fare against the other automakers. The financial impact of Toyota's first pure electric, planned, high-volume dedicated BEV, the sales figures from May and June, and what they indicate about the second half of 2022 and beyond are discussed in this video. So, if you want to know more, make sure to finish this video. But before that, welcome to Investing Wise Academy. This is Fred. And if you're new to this channel, please make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more upcoming videos like this. First, let's talk about the partnership and joint ownership between Toyota and Subaru. Toyota began working on creating its first BEV, which was intended to be a mainstream car produced in a meaningful volume after 2015. This was built upon Toyota's nearly sole concentration on hybrids for 2 decades. It may not be a surprise that this all-electric Toyota is a combined Toyota-Subaru effort, given Toyota's minority ownership position in Subaru and its initial development and production collaborations there. Toyota had primary development responsibilities, not simply manufacturing. In contrast, the Subaru BRZ and Toyota 86 are the same cars, developed primarily by Subaru and produced in a Subaru plant. Toyota builds the initial iteration of this Toyota-Subaru partnership in Japan. Manufacturing began in early 2022. The first deliveries occurred in the United States in May 2022 and in Europe in June 2022. It will be offered in all significant BEV selling regions, including Europe, North America, and some areas of Asia. The vehicle, bZ4X. BZ stands for Beyond Zero. 4 denotes the relative size, slightly less than the global average, and X designates an SUV crossover. The so-called compact SUV sector at the center of the current worldwide market is the size and shape of this significant Toyota BEV. Toyota is already the market leader in this area with its best-selling lineup of RAV4 gasoline, hybrid, and plug-in hybrid or PHEV vehicles. As an illustration, the RAV4 has been the best-selling non-pickup truck car in the US for half a decade. Therefore, it shouldn't be shocking that most manufacturers have chosen this market to launch their first mass-market all-electric vehicle. Here are a few more expensive competitors at the upper end of the compact SUV pricing range: the Jaguar I-Pace, Audi e-Tron and Q4 e-Tron, Tesla Model Y, BMW i3X and iX, Mercedes EQA, EQB and EQC, Cadillac Lyriq and Genesis GV60. And among the more affordable options are the Volkswagen ID4, Skoda Enyaq, Ford Mustang Mach-E, Kia EV6, Niro EV, Hyundai Ioniq 5, and Kona EV and Nissan Ariya, which will soon be available in US stores. There are many more possibilities accessible for markets outside of the United States. However, this video primarily focuses on products that are already accessible or will be shortly on the American market, which is typically comparable to the Canadian market. Toyota's advantage, the user interface. When Toyota debuted the bZ4X concept a year ago, I was mildly horrified by the inside design. This is similar to how I felt about the outside. In addition to being unsightly, I anticipated using this would be disastrous. I have concluded that one of its key attractions is the interior user interface, for the following reasons. The overall usability might be the finest in its class. This is quite significant. The use of new interface concepts that don't accomplish anything to improve upon the standard knobs and buttons we have grown accustomed to over the last 50 years seems to have become an industry sickness among manufacturers in recent years, especially concerning their all-electric vehicles. The interface of the Toyota bZ4X was simple to understand and operate. That implies that there was no need to invest time in learning. The integrated steering wheel and instrument cluster is one of the characteristics. The steering wheel in the bZ4X feels smaller than the standard one and it seems to sit a little lower into your lap. That initially has an unusual feeling, but it's not necessarily a bad one. This is because you cannot see the instrument cluster inside the steering wheel located above the wheel. Although it's as fixed a display as any typical instrument cluster, it almost looks like a heads-up display that projects into the windscreen. Everything seems strange at first and appears strange, but strangely, everything works. I was stunned beyond belief. It doesn't seem to have any advantages over a standard wheel cluster system, but I was glad to find no significant disadvantages. The absence of a glove compartment is the only drawback of the cabin that I could find. Yes, it's wholly absent, it's not just trim. And I fail to see a justification for this omission. However, there are two unexpected measurements where the Toyota bZ4X excels. So, if you want to know what these are, finish this video. Before we continue, if you want your comments to be highlighted, you could try our super thanks or join our membership program to support this channel more. Now, the majority of compact SUV BEVs share a lot of characteristics. Many people would undoubtedly fail a blind test driving most of them. These automobiles' character or driving dynamics are now so good and consistent that discussing their little variances seems torturous. However, there are two relatively unexpected metrics: ground clearance and weight, where the Toyota bZ4X outperforms most or all of the opposition. Most modern crossover SUVs at least suggest or give the impression of having some kind of off-road capability. Ground clearance is the metric that is most frequently used to measure it. However, it turns out that nearly none of the vehicles in the compact SUV BEV sector have ground clearance that is noticeably higher than that of the typical sedan. Consider the Ford Mustang Mach-E as an illustration. It is a low-slang coupe with a 14cm ground clearance, much like the standard Ford Mustang. Yes, a muscle car with two doors. Hardly what you would anticipate from any kind of crossover SUV. The venerable but enduringly popular off-road SUV Toyota 4Runner is at the other end of the realistic scale. It has a ground clearance of 24 centimeters. So where do you suppose the all-electric Toyota bZ4X falls between those two extremes? 14 cm for the Ford Mustang Mach-E crossover SUV and 24 cm for the Toyota 4Runner. Amazingly, it measures 21 centimeters. That is only a few inches away from the highly regarded off-road expert Toyota 4Runner. This is a key selling factor for Toyota, just as it is for the Subaru Solterra, the car's virtually identical sibling. Depending on version and trim, the bZ4X weighs just between 4,266 and 4,464 pounds. When compared to non-BEVs like the Toyota 4Runner, this is heavy. However, the AWD configuration is the lightest all-electric SUV in its class. The heaviest competitor is almost 500 pounds heavier than the Toyota bZ4X. The base models of the Kia and Hyundai cars weigh less when they are non-AWD but more when they are AWD. Sales figures for 2022, the US is expected to reach 7,000. Toyota stated at the March 2022 US product introduction that it planned to release 7,000 units for the American market in 2022. Subaru, in contrast, would provide 6,500 of its version, the Solterra. Sales in the United States began in May 2022, and it appears that European sales started in June, a few weeks later. In other words, the amounts are insignificant. I believe it is safe to state that sales are lagging below expectations. For instance, the combined 13,500 units of Toyota plus Subaru's sister vehicle allotment for the US market will probably be backloaded closer to December 2022 than in July. What will happen to Toyota's electric vehicles after 2022? Expect Toyota to introduce a lineup of BEVs similar to most other automakers over the next 4 years. In essence, it will be a participant in practically all mainstream segments. For instance, anticipate at least one SUV that is smaller and larger than the original bZ4X model. The Lexus version of the bZ4X is already known to exist and is expected to be released in the coming months. By 2026, Toyota will undoubtedly have enough BEVs on the market to satisfy the wants and preferences of at least half of the target market. Barring the not insignificant matter of pricing, BEVs are more expensive to produce, and consumers won't necessarily have that much more money to spend on a new car if inflation is considered. Toyota has the same difficulties as all other automakers do with this topic. And that's it. Let me know what you think. Again, this is Fred. And if you are new to this channel, please subscribe to be updated for more upcoming videos like this. Now, did you know that Toyota's solid-state battery finally hit the market? So yeah, we are still talking about Toyota. Well, if you want to know more about Toyota, click and watch this video. See you there!